Hello and welcome to today's episode of Perfectly Paired with Chef Jim May. Today we're going to make a classic dish, chicken Cordon Bleu. It was a request from one of our wine club members, but we're going to make it, going to tweak it so it works with both of our wines. It's going to have work with our new release 2020 Chardonnay, which is coming out this month, as well as our 18 Sonoma Coast. And there's going to be three components. The first one is making the sauce, which is going to be a mushroom whole grain mustard sauce that goes on top of the finished product. And then there's going to be an apple, cranberry, almond slaw to go with it. And both of those work really well. Goes with the Chardonnay because the Chardonnay comes from Peters Vineyard, which has got this sort of lemony apple overtones, and we use lemon and orange in the dressing. And then the acid in the 18 Pinot it cuts through the richness of the cream sauce and ties in with the cranberries and the apple slaw. So we're getting started with the sauce, and while the sauce is cooking, we're going to finish off the chicken. The sauce is going to start with a couple of tablespoons of butter. We're going to put in two tablespoons of shallots, cook it for about a minute or two until it softens. Then we're going to add garlic, and then the mushrooms, and then we're going to use a little bit of this delicious Chardonnay to cook with. It's going to reduce down, give a little acid, kind of give it some more components of the appley fruit. The mushrooms I'm using is just regular mushrooms. You can use whatever combination you want. This is just under a half a pound. It's 6 ounces, sliced thin. We're going to cook them down with the garlic and the shallots, add a little bit of mustard, a little bit of thyme, and some white wine. And it's going to be all delicious. So this is starting to soften. I'm going to add the garlic because that doesn't take quite as long. And it's smelling pretty darn good already. Now I'm going to add the mushrooms to cook a little bit. They're going to release some of their juices, and I want to get those released, and then it's going to start to reduce those juices down, and that's when I add the wine and the thyme. So we'll put these in, let them brown a little bit. There we go. And then while that's cooking, we're going to prepare the chicken. And the chicken classically is pounded out chicken breast, a little bit of ham, and some Swiss cheese rolled, and it's usually breaded and egg and fried. This is going to be a little bit healthier, a little bit easier. It's going to be rolled, and we're going to just stick our breading on it, which is Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs with a little bit of butter, and then we're going to bake it real quick, 20-25 minutes at a hot oven, and it's going to crisp up and be delicious. But what we need to do, chickens don't really come with 6 to 8 ounce breasts. So what you have to do is go to your butcher, ask them about if you can get 6 to 8 ounce breast. I managed to get a couple there, but I also got almost a 1 pound breast. And what you want to do is cut this and pound it. So this is actually 14 ounces. So there's going to be 2 7-ounce breasts, and I'm going to take that and put plastic on top of it and do a little pounding. You want to get this breast, no matter how thick, you want to take it gently down to about an 1/8 to 1/4 inch. You want to get it a little thicker than a tortilla because you're going to roll it like a burrito. There's part of it, and I'm going to do the other half. You want to do it under plastic because it doesn't stick and it keeps it a little more hygienic. So that's looking pretty good. A little bit more, try to make it a little more rectangular, like a burrito. So I'm going to put a little salt and pepper in the middle. I'm going to check on those mushrooms real quick. I can hear them starting to release their juices. is going to cook 8 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to add the thyme, the wine, cook that another minute, then add the cream, and it's pretty much that and the mustard, and it's done. So we have that. We seasoned it with a little bit of salt and pepper on the inside. We'll also do the outside. And then we're going to put a piece of this Black Forest ham on the bottom third, 2/3, with a little bit of, just take the cheese and tear it to that, and a little bit more ham. Give it a little more flavor on the inside. Fold this in and just roll it. Leave a little bit at the end so you have something for it to catch on. And there we go. Tuck it in a little bit more and it's done. We'll do that with the other 3. And this is going to be a kind of an elegant dinner for 4 that's going to go with both red and white wine. So it doesn't have a, if you have people that have a preference, they can do one or the other. Most people should do both. And sauce. Mushrooms have released their juices. I'm going to add the wine. I'm going to add a little bit of thyme. You can use fresh. Dried is fine. It's just going to add a little bit, you take a little bit less on there. And I'm going to put about, a quarter to a half a cup of Chardonnay. You don't want to use the whole bottle. And we're going to reduce that down and then add cream, mustard, and it's done. So the Chardonnay was bottled last month, so it's newly bottled. It is the 2020 from the Peters Vineyard. It's the coolest vineyard we get fruit from. It used to be an apple orchard, so it's got some little overtones of apple. It could just be the suggestion, but it's this appley, lemony, great acid. It goes through malolactic, but it's still got this acid that is just delightful. Keeps it living and keeps it improving as you go along. But it's good when it's first released. So it's coming out in September this month, and it's going to be one of the wines that always sells out. So if you want it, you better get it while you can. And it is only white wine we make. And we make 10 Pinots, one Chardonnay. So my juices of the wine has reduced on here. I'm going to throw in half a cup of cream, a couple tablespoons of whole grain mustard, and I'm just going to put this on to simmer for about 4 to 5 minutes, and it's going to get nice and thick. And this could be made 2 hours ahead of time. So I finished doing all 4 of the chicken breast, all layered with 2 slices of ham and the cheese in between. I'm going to brush it with a little bit of melted butter so that the breading sticks to it. And this is much easier than the flour, the egg, the breadcrumbs, and it's a little bit healthier because we're not frying it. And then I've got half a cup of Parmesan cheese, half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. I'm going to mix these up really well. Don't need to season it because there's enough salt in the Parmesan. And I'm just going to sprinkle this on and pat it in. It's going to make a nice crust when it's baked. Doesn't take too long to bake. It's at a high temperature. Get some on the sides here. And then there's a little bit of the butter left over. I'm just going to drizzle that on. Helps make it crispy. And then it goes into the 425 oven, and we'll check it in about 20 minutes. We want it to interior to be 165, and then we're starting to brown. So now we're going to start on the slaw. And the slaw is, again, tweaked to go with the wines. We're going to start with a couple apples, anything that's got crisp and slightly tart. I'm using Honey Crisp. You can use Golden or not Golden Delicious, Granny Smith. You can use any apples you want. You can use Granny Smith, Rayburn. They're all good. They're just as long as they're It's got good acid and fruit balance. So what this is going to do, I'm going to take carrots. I take two cups of cabbage, which I've already cut up. The carrots, you can hand julienne and just make them into little sticks like that. And they go in there. The apple, I'm using 2 apples. All you need to do is core them. They don't need to be peeled. And then we're going to julienne the apples just as well. And that gives it that bridge for the Chardonnay. And then it's going to also have some almonds and also some cranberries, which bridges the whole dish with the Pinot. So it's kind of a one dish that covers all bases. So I happen to have a mandolin, and you can get mandolins that are very small and way less expensive, those plastic ones. But this is going to just make it easy to get these guys julienne. They come out like this. You sprinkle them on. Now within 10-15 minutes of doing the apples, you need to put the dressing on it. I'll show you what the dressing is. More julienne there. So I have the slaw in there, or the cabbage, I have the apple, and I have the carrots. And I made a salad dressing, or a slaw dressing. It's got orange juice in it, it's got lemon zest, it's got lemon juice, and it's got apple cider vinegar and oil in it, as well as salt and pepper. And I'm gonna, before the apple starts to brown, which is again under some time restraints, I'm going to toss it so it stays nice and white. Gonna toss it together. This is a delicious slaw, even without the Cordon Bleu. And it's good to take on a picnic. Now what I'm gonna do here, I'm adding green onion for a little color and flavor. You may not have to use all the dressing. You don't want to overdress it. And then I'm going to add half a cup of cranberries, dried cranberries, and some slivered almonds. Again, all these have a bridge to go to the flavors of the wine. Cranberries, the apple, the lemon, orange, and this is pretty much ready to serve. Well, if you like this segment, the cooking segment we do once a month, but every Wednesday we do a Wine and Whatever Wednesday, different show every month, interviews, wine tastings, rating the cellar. This cooking show happens to be a wine club member request for a dish that we've taken and tweaked for our wines. If you have any of your favorites that you'd like to see done, get in touch with us, but otherwise watch us on YouTube or on our Facebook page, and look forward to seeing you every month. So it's been about 25 minutes. The temperature is reading 160, 65. They're starting to brown on the top. I'm going to let it rest for about 10-15 minutes so the cheese can kind of solidify a little bit and the juices come back into the chicken. So give that 10 minutes, then we're going to slice it and dish it up. Okay, so I've removed them. They've cooled for a bit. I'm going to cut them at a little bit of an angle, about an inch thick. They're still nice and hot. I'm going to put them on the plate. Look at on the inside here, beautiful little cheesiness, and the ham, and that goes there. I'm going to put a little slaw on the side. Again, this is all going to be tied together, really refreshing, really elegant. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit of our mushroom sauce, which classic will have a little Dijon sauce. This kicks it up with mushrooms and a whole grain. And I'm going to top it with a little bit of chives just to give it a little more flavor and color. This is optional, but there we have it. And this is what our finished product looks like. It's elegant, it's tasty, and it goes with both our Chardonnay and our Pinot. So I'm going to pour a glass of each and take it out to Dan, who's anxiously waiting in the patio. He's going to have some of the 2020 Chardonnay and a little bit of our Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. Coastal, a little brighter fruit, more strawberry, more cherry, great acid. Goes great with that cream sauce and the mushrooms, brings out more of the fruit on both of them. So we'll take it outside and see how he likes it. So here's to having you join me for this little picnic lunch. This is our Chardonnay, the 2020, which is coming out this month. Delicious stuff. We're going to start with the chicken and see how it goes with the Chardonnay. Then we're going to move to the Slaw with the Chardonnay, and then we'll move into the Pinots.
I love that sauce on that. The mushrooms, that creaminess in there, and even that little bit of shallot comes through really nicely.
It does. It kind of sweetens it up and gives it some savory flavors. It's really good with the Pinot, with the Chardonnay. And then I'm going to try it with the Slaw, which has, again, some ridges of the citrus, the lemon dressing. It's got the apple in there. Real clean, real refreshing.
Very refreshing. And if you're ever lucky enough to be at the cellar when the Chardonnay fruit comes in, Ben presses it immediately, and it comes around with some of that juice, and it tastes just like apple juice.
It does.
And it brings out that apple and the slaw, kind of brings out those flavors. It's wonderful.
I'm glad. So we're going to move on to the Pinot then and see how that is perfectly paired with both the chicken and the slaw. Again, there's bridges in both of them. The mushrooms is always good with the Pinot, and as well as the pork, the ham, and the mustard is good with the Chardonnay. And we made the sauce with a little bit of Chardonnay, if you remember. And so that was good with the Chardonnay. Now we're going to try it with the Pinot. The earthiness of the mushrooms and the mustard will bring out the fruitiness of this real bright, great acid. Like I said, lots of strawberry, cherry, cranberry. It's one of our lighter wines, but it's one of my favorites.
That's really nice, Jim. You know, I've always been afraid to make Cordon Bleu. I thought it was just so extravagant and difficult, and watching you prepare that is so simple.
Well, we cut out a few.
I can't wait to try it myself.
Thanks. Well, I cut out a few steps, made it easier, a little bit healthier, and it just makes it easier. You can just pop it in the oven for 20-30 minutes, and then you have it with this slaw, which again, the cranberries, it bridges the cranberry, strawberry, and the wine. There's almond, which give you that nuttiness.
Just fabulous. You're right, with the cranberries, with the Pinot, it kind of brings out those flavors in that, with the chicken and the mushroom sauce on it, and the ham inside of it. You can't go wrong with ham and Pinot.
No.
So, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Whenever you need a taster,
okay, I'll call you. Here's to the good life.
Thank you.
Thank you.